Welcome back, everybody. Oh, let's get a build started. So I said earlier, things kind of changed a little bit. Instead of just buying some good hop-up parts for the C10, I basically have everything to build a pretty good truck, or Toyota. I just need to rob the transmission out of this and the axles for right now. We got plans for the axles. I have different ones coming, but I have all the good stuff for these, and stock axles are good, so we're not getting rid of them. I am going to get, well, maybe. I'm not a fan of Lexan bodies anyways, so I might post up this C10 on Instagram, and I guess I'm shouting it out on here, but I'll probably put it on Instagram. Maybe trade it for stock something, I don't know, some parts or something. Because like I said, I don't like Lexan bodies. Hard bodies is the way to go. I'm just rambling. I have no rhyme or reason for this video except bringing you along. So yeah, the C10. Not going to be using that. We're going to take the transmission out of this, axles out of it, and then we're going to get going on the Injora low center gravity chassis. While I have the transmission out, we're going to put the Little Guy Racing 050 50 turn brush motor in it. I'm not smart enough to do time lapse on my editing, so I'm going to pause the video, get this apart, get the parts off I need, and then we'll be back. All right, well, we've got the main components we needed. Transmission, front axle, rear axle. We're not done with this. There's plans. I'm just not sure which route yet. So I think we'll start by putting this motor in, taking the stock drive shafts off because we got stainless steel units to put on it. So again, I'm not going to bore you by taking you through that. If I run into any problems, I'll get back on the video and note if I find anything worth noting about and let you guys know. All right, I do have a little something to point out here. So I got the transmission apart and off, and I see what's going on now because there aren't any directions with this, but here's the stock motor, stock mounting position. Here's the new plate that comes with the Little Guy Racing, and if that shows up, it's some different options there for your motor mounting and to get your mesh, which is pretty cool. So I just left that alone. I'm going to put that back in the bag that the Little Guy Racing motor come with. But I did see that they had a little bit of grease on the spur gear, I would call it, and the pinion gear, but there is like absolutely no grease inside of it. And maybe it's supposed to be like that, I don't know, but I used to race 12 scale pan cars on carpet. I have no idea what this is. They probably don't even make it anymore, I'm sure. But some kind of super lube. I'm going to put a little bit on there. Maybe, if it's still solid. If I can find a toothpick to put a little bit of it on there with. Yeah, it's kind of solid in the bottom. We're just going to put a little bit on there, not much. This thing isn't sealed, so it's just going to sling that stuff all over. But that's going to give it a little bit of lubrication, I guess. All right, so there's that. I'll put that off to the side. So this plate should go right back in the stock location. Here again, I'm not going to bore you with all this, so we'll come right back. And I found out something else. I need the motor screws out of the stock motor. They're just a little bit bigger than the rest of the hardware. So this is going to have to come off. And this motor, the holes are in the opposite corners. And I just have the spur gear barely pushed on. It's not on there all the way yet. Let's see if I can get this lined up. Just going to put them on loose. I'm going to stick this gear back on. And I think yeah, I'm not sure how this. That's pretty tight. Guess I don't see how it. Probably need to see how far this gear goes on. I'm not sure. Push this on. Well, it went on. That went on. I guess I don't see where it gets. I don't understand how it meshes. See, that's too tight. All it does is slides up and down in these holes. It's too tight. Yeah, I don't know. I'm missing something. I'm gonna have to figure this out because yeah, that's way too tight. The screws only let you slide the motor up and down. Let me study this for a little bit. I think I got it. There's not a lot of play, but it is a little bit. I didn't tighten up that nut like real hard. I mean, it can wiggle a little. I think that's how you want it. There's how it meshes. It's pretty close. But everything turns free, so I think it's okay. Let's get it let's get the cover back on. Oh, I don't think you can run the cover. Maybe it helps if you put it on right. maybe. Yeah, let's take these 2 screws. Helps if I use the right driver. Yeah, we'll get the cover bolted back on. Get it put back on the... I see why it wasn't going on. It hits that motor screw right there. So I'm going to take this back off and notch that cover out a little bit, so it makes some clearance there for it. That's better. So I just notched that little corner out over that bolt. Spins pretty good. Get it bolted back down on the skid plate. I'm going to have a whole bunch of 45-second minute clips here to try to get put together for a video, huh? And I'm not an editing wizard at all. You know, while we're talking, man, if you guys like my videos, you know, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. You know, I'm not out for anything except showing off my builds, and hopefully if I can help people with something. For instance, like this chassis. I mean, I Googled or YouTubed, you know, that low center of gravity chassis kit, where there aren't very many videos out there. I'll try to do a little decent video out of it, hopefully. If you guys like it, let me know. You know, drop suggestions or whatever in the comments. So I appreciate everybody following me. Okay, so there's our completed transmission with our little guy racing 050 50 turn. So with that, I think we can start building that chassis. All right, we got the chassis kit open. Here's our 2 rails, carbon fiber rails. Some double sticky tape. I'm assuming it's for the magnets. And those are part of the magnet body mounts. But I'm pretty sure the Injora IR60 body has its own set of mounts in it, magnet mounts. They do give you good instructions, it looks like. Well, those are pretty easy to follow, I think. On this bag, here's our screw bag. All of our, one of the center posts. Battery strap. The rest of the carbon fiber plates. I'm thinking that's a battery tray. Side skids. The rear shock towers and extensions, because this is called a universal chassis. I think I'm not sure where those go actually. We'll get it. You can slide it back and forth. Then here's a centerpiece, and I believe that one's probably for electronics. So let's see what they want us to do here. So they want to put the see, this would be the front, right? Yeah. Assuming it goes like that. They want to put one of these metal sliders on here. All right, I'm gonna get my screws laid out so I don't bore you guys with that. All right, I have the transmission in and the skid plates, running boards, whatever you want to call them. There was a little issue, so I put the front plate in, no issues. The back plate here was really close, and I'm not sure if this is how I want to do this or not, but we'll figure that out as long as it doesn't rub. But here's a little, I guess it's not an issue, but we'll talk about it. So what they do is they take the chassis, because this is the universal one, so it can, excuse me, it can be the C10 wheelbase or like your Gladiator, I think, and the Power Wagon. They give you this little aluminum, this is going to be hard to show. They give you this aluminum piece that bolts on here like this side. So I already bolted this one on. And there is a right and a left because these have countersunk screws. You take this one for the short wheelbase and it screws on there. If you want the longer wheelbase, you move it out to these longer holes. I had to sand a little bit of material off the end of here because it didn't quite line up. So that was a little issue I wanted to talk about so people are aware of. And there we have it. There is the rear of the chassis, the rear shock mounts. I should have pointed out, I took all the screws out, all the hardware out, laid them all out in piles so that they're all here. So they're all in the same category of length. And it sure looks like they've included enough to replace all the black screws that I took out. Is what it looks like. So there's that part. Then, let's see, we need this aluminum piece. Goes in the back. That's just the back piece there to stiffen up the back. All right, where are we at? Oh, okay. So this other plate, I guess I was kind of wrong. In a way, I don't know. I'm still going to use the front for a battery tray, I think. I'm going to have to do something. Those black extension pieces there have 4 holes in it. And that's to put this plate in there. And then you can slide it back and forth. And then I'm guessing that the other strip, that's for your strap, which, yeah, they want you to put your battery in the back. And that's not what I'm going to do. The speed controller might go there, however, if I use the MB100 in this one. Yeah, I'll definitely put the speed controller back there. I'm not going to put that on yet because that can be done anytime from the top. I don't want it in the way. of doing the rest of the drivetrain. So the chassis is built. Now we're going to go on to axles. The rear axle I'm going to leave stock, but I am using Injora's brass high clearance links. The front axle is going to get a bunch of mods. So I'm going to, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to put the put the back one on first, and then I'm going to have to build up the front one. Here's our brass high clearance links. And I think we have to put these together. Put the little ball ends in them. And then stick all the O-rings on it. So we'll get these all put together. All right, something little I want to point out here. This is going to be really hard to show. Maybe I can get it on there. These like ball ends that go in there, if I can get this to focus. Maybe. There's a small end and a big end. And what you do is you put them through here. At least this is how I'm doing it. Put your O-ring on there, and then I push the other side out and I put the O-ring on there. But how you want to do these, I believe you want that bigger flange. So if that shows up, see how this side is the bigger flange? You want that going up against your plastic. Same way when it goes inside of the transmission mount, you want that thicker flange to the inside. I don't know why, but I saw that somewhere. This is going to be impossible to show, but I'm going to try to show you how. So you push one of those through. Take one of these itty bitty O-rings and slide it over. And then I just pop that up like that. And then try to get your other O-ring on there like that. And then there's one completed high clearance top link for the rear. So there's the rear axle with our high clearance brass links. I hope I put them on right. I should have weighed them. They're pretty significant. All right, now we'll go on to the front, but that's going to require a little more parts. All right, I got the rear end done. And yeah, the low center of gravity chassis kit comes with all the stainless steel screws to replace everything, you know, that you took out of the chassis. So it all has all the stainless steel hardware. But yeah, there's our low center or our high clearance links. At first I was kind of skeptical of this rectangular bars and all these O-rings. I thought, you know, I probably should have just got links that have threaded rod and ball ends. But I think once they loosen up, it'll have plenty of flex. I mean, I'm over exaggerating it, I'm sure. But yeah, and then there's the Injora stainless steel drive shaft. That's all in. And I'm sure I don't need to tell people this, and it's going to be hard to show, but I always clock my drive shafts. If I had it turned right to where you could see the bolt, I clock them so that they're all bolts all in line, front and rear, just to eliminate any vibrations. So I'm going to put the links together for the front and start working on the front axle. Then I'll come back when I start on that front axle. All right, I got the front links all put together. I have the front axle all stripped. But I want to show something. And I don't know if this will be a very good example. I should have did it while I had everything together, just to show like the angle, the steering angles. I know it should be like this. But anyways, those are the stock steering angles. We're going to do a little trimming of the, excuse me, a little trimming of the knuckles. And then I have some U-joints, CV joint style axles to put in it. So let me get it apart and then I'll bring you back for that. Okay, I hope this shows up. See, I just took my little side cutters, my little nips, and cut a little, I know it looks like kind of like a V. But then I took sandpaper and wrapped it around my X-Acto knife and ran it back and forth through here and smoothed this one out. See how it gives you a little more. It doesn't take much. And we're going to put, these are the $12 Amazon U-joint axles. So I'll get that all put back together. All right, I got the front end all put together. This is probably going to be hard to show the difference in the steering angle. Put the Injora brass knuckles on it, the brass steering bars, and the brass diff cover, which I'm only using one. I'm not putting it on the rear. And I'm going to take the back apart too because there was hardly any grease in there. So I put a little bit of marine grease on it. So we'll get to the links and then the Injora servo mount and the Emax servo next. Alright, completed front axle with the Emax servo, the brass links. Oh, what did I run into? The brass servo horn that came with the kit. I don't know if the splines didn't match up quite right, but it's shorter anyways. This white one will give me longer throw. Then one other trick, I usually use the E6000, but I got some of this Scotch Supreme double-sided tape for like your electronics and stuff, and it's very sticky. So I put some of that on the back so that you can get the wire to come out in the middle instead of off on the side. Keep it away from the frame rails. So we'll get this installed in the chassis. Yeah, and there we have it, a completed chassis. Everything went pretty smooth. I don't really have much to talk about. The Injora shocks, the 39mm, are awesome. They come with 3 different sets of springs, and I believe the ones that come on it were the mediums. I might want to put the lightest ones on. We'll see. And I put a little bit of associated silicone 25 weight shock oil. Really only because 25 weight's the lightest I had here. I probably would have put 15 or 20 in them. And I didn't fill them, so you're not like relying on, an oil. They're smooth. They're very nice shocks. So where it sits, I'm trying to make sure I didn't forget anything. Yeah, I don't think there were any issues. Now, these axles aren't staying under this. They're going to end up in another project. But it is a little narrow, so I did go on today and ordered Injora brass axle extenders. I don't know. The description shows like 8mm wide. I don't really think they're actually that wide, but when I get them, they're supposed to be here Friday. Because I think it's a little too narrow. So the ride height, and I have the spring rates all the way up. There's still a little bit of shock. However, there aren't any electronics in it yet, and it doesn't have the hard body. But I had a little bit of time on my lunch break today to get the hard body done. Actually, let's and there's not, I mean, there's a couple videos on the IR60 body. It went together flawless. I mean, just follow the directions. The back thing, I've seen a couple people mess it up, and I don't know how. If you really follow the directions. The only tip I can say: put your grill on last. The last step is bolting the bed to the cab, which are these two side pieces right here, and then there's 3 screws in here that screw into the roll cage. And let me get, this isn't the right Allen wrench, but with this in the way, you're at an angle on those screws and you really risk stripping them out. So I took that back off so you can get a better angle. So that's really the only tip I guess I could give on the body. It's not going to stay like this. I liked the tan and was going to flat black a bunch of stuff on it. I'm still undecided, but I don't know. I might really patina it and beat the hell out of it. But I don't know. If it's going to stay on this chassis, this chassis has a lot of bling on it. Especially when my axles get here. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm probably going to have to take this apart. This isn't going to, yeah, I'm going to have to get my Allen wrench and I'll be right back. There we go. And I think I knew this. The rock sliders aren't going to work, so they have to come off. I think I saw that somewhere that for one, it's the low center of gravity chassis, so it's angled skid, but they don't fit down. Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to. Yeah, that's not going to fit down in this body. So the hinge system, I mean, it just goes in. It will actually go on it'll go on your stock rails. So that's pretty slick. I didn't put, okay, this was the plate that goes in the back. This is the magnetic plate for the front that I think actually bolts into this. But I don't know for sure if, I mean, this body was kind of made for, or this chassis was made for this body. So I don't know if that's, and it looks like probably when I get those off, that's probably going to sit low enough. But my whole point was get the body on, get the electrics in it. And I still don't think it's going to, I might have to put the lighter springs on. I don't know. Now I'm liking it. It needs to sit lower, definitely. But I'm getting to feel it now. And actually, if I get it to sit lower, I don't really mind the width either. Yeah. Yeah, that's looking good. So like I said, now I need to and I put the front bumper on that came with it just to strengthen the front until I get that body mount piece on it. I'm probably not going to keep that on there. I don't know. We'll see. It's definitely not in the way. Yeah, I think this thing's going to be badass. And now, I think I've already said I'm going to put the MB100 in it and put it on the FlySky radio since I'll have more adjustments. But I would really like to try the stock Spectrum. This is the version 1, by the way. So it does have the channel 2 port, and I can run a speed controller off of it. I don't really think I want to do that since this is huge and this thing's kind of the same size. But I might just stick this in to run it, just to run it. Because everybody says, and this thing was kind of smooth. It wasn't jumpy. It's not as smooth as the FMX, the SCX18, but we'll see. I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to end up with this. And this, I might take this out of its case, put some clear shrink wrap over it. And I'm trying to, excuse me, trying to figure out what I want to do here. I really like the body. I like the panels, so I really don't want to do, the rear exo cage. Once I get the electrics in there, I definitely have to cover this bed in with something. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm pretty excited. I mean, leave me some comments. Tell me what you guys think. I definitely need to get it to sit lower. And I'll get those wheel wideners. We'll see what it looks like. And then it'll be the body shop after this. Once I decide where I'm going to go with the body, that'll be a whole separate video. So thanks for following along. Like I said earlier, please like, share, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I'm just doing this for everybody else. When you run into little problems, like I said, there's not a whole lot of videos out there on some specific things. So I like to get it out there. Oh, one other thing. You buy Injora parts. These are out of like everything. The shocks, I don't know, whatever. This is out of the body. This is out of the body kit. They give you 100 screws and everything that they put out. I mean, it's great. I mean, you have so many screws, so much hardware, ball ends, long screws, short screws, nuts, O-rings. That's cool. That's like awesome product support, I think. Yeah, this pile down here was from the shocks. You have two different size aluminum spacers, which, if this will show, I ended up using the thicker spacer on the top of the front and rear shocks, and the smaller spacer on the bottom of the front and rear to get them to sit to where they don't bind. I mean, this is smooth, really, really, really smooth. Yeah. So there it is. There again. Thanks for following along. We'll talk to you guys later.